Stand-Up Memories, another episode. With the incomparable Chris...
Did he say it?
They said action.
Okay.
This is stand-up...
I didn't hear it.
No, you didn't hear it. But they
I was
said
too
it...
busy watching you wait for it.
I was waiting for it.
Because you made a joke.
I know, I made a joke.
When you make a joke, you know
I tend to talk
excites
before the
me.
act.
It excites Chris, our guest. Excites Nicole and Freddie with 1D. And
Kristen,
surprise guest.
We have... that's a surprise.
Not anymore, I guess.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Are you going to introduce the show?
Welcome to Stand Up Memories, another episode with Chris Monty, comedian extraordinaire, and of course, Jackie Martling has taken his pill and he's ready for another episode.
Your old friend.
He's good for another 2 hours.
He's good for another 2 hours.
I'm propped up.
And, Chris, how long have you've been in comedy? A while now. I mean,
25 years now.
25 years, and you work everywhere, and you're so popular.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think so. But even comics.
Not at the gate, though. That's where it counts, you know?
Yeah, not at the gate. But every comic, no matter how good they are, has nights that don't go as well as they hope.
Speak for yourself.
And I would say every night is like that.
Yeah.
But for you, it's got to be rare. But you must have
Now,
some.
you get crowds that are weird, you know?
Yeah.
You can have big, you ever get that big crowd and you go, man, this is going to be great, and they suck, you know? And you just go,
Or they're not, when people are assembled, not for that reason. And
Different story,
I did a
right.
show the other night, and it was a political celebration, and I'm sure half of them didn't even know there was going to be comedy
Right.
at the thing. You know, you can't blame them. You know,
No, shows like that, like the toughest shows and the shows I hate doing the most, even though anybody watching, I do their golf outings every year. I do a lot of golf outings. You were big in the golf outings. Yeah. But they're not the easiest shows because they're out, they're drinking since 9 o'clock, they're playing. Then they get back, it's a long day, they have their dinner, they have their awards, and then you're at the end of the night.
There's two guys at each table that are really into it. Like when I'm going,
Right.
I know they're learning the jokes, but half of them are like, well, you want to go? When are you leaving?
Yeah.
When are we going to,
Wait for the 50-50 after this guy. That's, and you're doing, you got, and they're all, a lot of them I only got to do 20, 25 minutes, but it's an eternity when it sucks,
Oh, and just the other night, last Thursday, they said, all right, and the guy booked 4 headliners, which is just absurd, but they must have had a bottomless budget, they spent a lot of money,
Right.
and the congressman or whoever he was, I didn't even look it up, he came over and said, all right, when he's done, we're going to do the raffle and then you're on. I said, no.
No, you can't.
Never do the raffle
No.
before the comic.
No.
No. One booker upstate, who you probably work for, did the raffle before, he had the 2 acts and then did the raffle and had me on. I've been calling them raffles for like 10 years.
Or you know what I love? When you get to the show and it's maybe they're doing a comedy night at the Elks Lodge or the Knights of Columbus, and they go, what's this? You get there early, they give you the food, and they go, okay, it's going to be Peter Bales and then Jackie, then our intermission, and then you and you go, oh, no intermission.
You
no.
never stop,
And they
never
always
stop.
go, we always do the intermission. I have to do it because they smoke and they want to go outside.
And they want to sell drinks.
Yeah,
That's
and they
the
want to
real
sell
reason.
drinks,
Yeah.
and oh,
and
man.
Yeah,
But it breaks the
and
momentum.
It breaks the whole show,
and you
man.
just feel like such a prima donna trying to explain
Yep.
to them. It's for the good of the show.
I was the first comic that took the stage at the Paramount in Huntington.
Wow.
Now, here's what happened. B.B. King was headlining. This is a few years back when it first opened. Whoever was supposed to open, the musical act that was supposed to open for them, crapped out like 2 days before the thing. I was supposed to be working a weekend at McGuire's in Bohemia. I forget who called me, but an agent called me. Are you open this Friday? I said, well, I'm at McGuire's. Can you get out of it? Why? You can open for B.B. King at the Paramount. I said, hold on. I called Mark Lund at the club, who we talked about a couple episodes ago. He says, go, open for BB. I said, I don't want to lose the whole weekend, though. Can I still do Saturday? Yeah, you go in Saturday. I'll get somebody to cover you Friday. Don't worry. Yeah. But they weren't ready. They never had a comedian. So now you got 1,500 people, house lights up, milling around. I'm standing there. They go, 10 minutes, we're going to put you on. So I said, wait, is this going to stay like this? And the sound guy goes, what do you mean? I go, you got to shut the house lights down. You got to put a spotlight on me, and you have to introduce me. And he goes,
you're talking a foreign language.
Yeah, he goes, we don't do that. I go, you don't understand. I'm not going to walk out there with a guitar and don't care if people don't applaud when I'm done. I go, every 8 seconds to 20 seconds, I need a laugh. So I said, they're not going to be paying attention. They're not going on there. And they were like, what? And so the owner comes up and he goes, what's the problem? I go, what's the problem? I can't just walk out there. You got to shut the house lights, introduce me, then I walk out with a spotlight so that they're focused on me.
Right.
And so they did it. And even with that, I had to do 30 minutes. It took about a good 12 to 15 just to get, I was doing okay. I wasn't bombing. But the last 10 minutes of my set was killer. But they
get
weren't
them
all focused.
focused.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, but I had to, you got to teach them that. And I'm not a prima donna, but it's not, we all know it's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
You know?
So listen, this guy.
I told this story before on the show, but I worked at the Chance in Poughkeepsie, and I opened for War. No more Eric Burden, but it was like 12 black guys, and they had everything you could imagine to knock together, to shake, the rhythm section.
Right.
And the cables, and you had to like dance over the microphone stand. But the Chance was like an old vaudeville house, and it was packed. And I ate it so bad for the first 10 minutes. And then you get the rhythm and the idea what's going to work, but it was mostly black crowd, but music people too, and I finally got to like my 20 or 25 minutes, and by the time I was done, I knew that I'd be fine for the second show.
Right, because you figured it out in your
I
set.
got it figured out.
Yeah.
So I go off and I'm listening to, and they're so great. And I'm sitting there having a beer, and I'm gonna kick ass, and all of a sudden, we'd like to announce that you're all invited to stay for the set.
Nightmare.
I don't even know what I drank or how I got home. It was like,
He was opening for War. They had a huge hit. War. Huh.
No,
Good God.
no.
Is that the song?
No. That was Edgar.
That was a song. He was open for the group.
Oh, you're right. Boy, that's embarrassing.
War was Eric.
Editor.
Eric, no, editor.
I have a
Eric
great
Burden
joke
and the
too.
Animals.
That was
And
War.
after the
Huh.
Animals.
You ever heard it?
What
God.
is it good for? Absolutely
Well,
nothing.
regardless of who
That
did
was
it.
a great
That
That was
and
a
my-
Detroit Motown.
Yeah.
That was for my first wedding. That was our wedding song. I,
Say it again.
so anyway,
That was as primal a song. That was as primal as Tutti Frutti.
yeah, right.
Say it again.
Okay, now this guy has the best line I've ever seen as a comedian at a golf outing. To those of you watching from around the world, Brentwood is a town on Long Island that is.
I thought you were going to explain to everybody what golf was.
No,
I know. I didn't know where he was going with that one.
golf was discovered in Scotland, actually. It was. But Brentwood is a town struggling socioeconomically on Long Island, let's be fair. And
I'm not sure you want to say that.
no, but there's a golf outing at a country
I know
club.
the mayor.
Do you?
Yeah, I had to loan him $10.
My cousins, I had relatives that lived there for many years.
But you know the opening line.
What's the joke?
I'll do his opening line. A golf outing at Brentwood Country Club. He walked up and he goes, "Who knew Brentwood had a country club?" How funny is that?
Yeah.
I almost got myself lynched. They called me up to do some time at they were having a big party at the Oheka Castle for the Suffolk Arts Council. And I did the same thing. I went up and I said, "It sounds like an oxymoron." Suffolk Arts. And, they were pissed off. Suffolk has always had that, that second city, that Chicago, New York thing.
Right.
Like,
That's
we
so
try
true.
harder.
Have you ever had celebrities at your shows that you've met afterward? My worst.
I'll tell you a
Oh,
story.
why? Have you ever
I'll tell
had
you my
one?
best
Why
compliment.
no, I'll tell you the truth.
I'll tell you the best compliment that was said to somebody else by a celebrity at my show that wasn't said to me, but I'll tell you when you're done.
Well, no, I'm just saying mine is not such a wonderful story for me.
Oh.
At the comic strip.
Barbara Eden?
Oh, editor.
It always goes back to Barbara Eden.
Yeah.
But Olivia Newton-John came in
God rest her
by
soul.
God rest her soul.
This is a
Beautiful.
world record.
How many times I've told the show on this podcast?
But tell, it's a terrific
I don't
show.
know the
No,
story.
I idolized her. She was beautiful. She came into the comic strip by herself, sat there and watched comedians, and I was like the fourth one on, and she watched 3 comedians, and I was next, and I was introduced, and she's right there, right down front. I did one joke, and she stood up and walked out.
It probably wasn't you though. She was probably had to go to the
It
bathroom.
might have been.
I don't know.
Did you do balls party too?
I did. I did.
I got friendly with Danny Aiello. He used to have a little joint in Jersey, little restaurant. He used to do comedy upstairs, and then he did something in Manhattan, and so he liked me a lot, and he would sing, and he would ask me to come open for him when he sang, and we became friends. And so one night he has a night in Manhattan at some bar. He sets it up nice. He has it professionally set up with a stage and lights and sound. Anyway, a bunch of guys are on the show and girls, and after the show, I'm at the bar having a drink after my set, and he comes over to me and he goes, "Guess who just told me you were the best one on the show?" I said, "Who?" He said, "Jerry Stiller." And he was sitting right in front. I saw him when I was on stage, and Jerry Stiller was sitting up there. I said, "Oh, that made my night. That's good."
That exact same thing, I did a show at the Friars Club, and sitting at my feet was Stiller and Mira, the two of them.
Oh, wow.
Which is so, because you're such a big fan of them, and
Oh,
him
the best.
especially with the, and but you just plow on with your show, and it's not an easy crowd anyway. The Friars.
Oh,
and blah, blah,
I
blah.
always say, because I do shows there all the time, and my wife goes, "Are you going to go back?" And I go, "They are the worst crowd for a comedian." You wouldn't think, but I go and do these shows for my friends all the time, and they stare at you.
Right.
And
But
you're
then
doing
tell
killer
people-
material.
You tell people I did comedy at the Friars Club last night. They're so impressed.
Yeah,
Which
like,
is
"Oh,
absurd.
really?"
But he gave me the nicest compliment. He said, "Each of those jokes you do, they're like mini plays. You act out each character." But I'm like, nobody ever said that, but I'm going to take that from you and take it to the bank.
This says a lot about who Jerry Stiller was, because I actually have a similar story to you guys. Early 80s, Bill Boggs had a show on Channel 5.
Comedy Tonight.
And it was a daytime show. So it might have been...
Comedy this afternoon.
No, it was comedy around noon. Anyway.
His afternoon talk show.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they had a segment of brand spanking new comics, and we were to perform about a minute or 90 seconds and be judged by their guests, Jerry Stiller and Tony Randall.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So, and I'll never forget, Jerry Stiller goes, "Well, I don't know if it's really fair to judge these new young comedians." And Tony Randall goes, "I'll judge." so I did my 90 seconds, and Tony Randall commented, and it was funny. He was funny. But then Jerry Stiller spoke to me live on this daytime TV show and said nice things that I'll never forget. I was a kid. I was in my early 20s.
Can we Google it? Is it on YouTube?
I have not seen it. I don't even know if it's on YouTube.
No,
but I will never forget it.
That would be on
But that's just a nice
Kids
guy.
Show.
And
He's a great guy, and he loves
everybody,
comedians.
everybody who speaks about Jerry Stiller.
And I had the same experience with Joan Rivers. She loved comedians. If you were a good one, she liked you. And when I started working with her, she always, when she was in the Northeast, she would want me to be the opener because, in the beginning they didn't really pay a lot of money. And then I turned her down actually a couple times because the money was light. There was no hotel room. And I said, "Oh man, that's it. They're never going to call me again." And then she called me, doubled the money, and I was talking to her assistant, and he goes, "She gets so many bad acts. Like we'll go out to the Midwest and they'll just send somebody over from a comedy club for a couple $100, and she doesn't want a horrible comic
Because
up
they
there, but-
literally warm them down.
Yeah, she goes, and I want the comic to do 25 minutes so I don't have to do 2 hours, So I would get, and she'd always let me go long, do 30, and it was great, But she liked comics, if you were good.
She was great. She came on the Stern Show so much. She came on the Stern Show one time when she was doing her jewelry thing, when she was selling all that jewelry. She gave me really beautiful jewelry for my wife, like went around and gave it to all of us. She just was
She was a
good
class
soul,
act.
a good soul.
This reminds me of I was on a radio
Did
show.
you ever have sex with her?
Only once. No.
I think I was there. I think I was on the other side.
I'll take back control of the show right now. I was on a radio show, again, right when I'm starting out, very early 80s, and Jerry Seinfeld was on that show, as was Larry Miller, and we were starting out in new, and it was hosted by Cindy Adams, who longtime columnist for the New York Post. Her husband, Joey Adams, who you knew, I'm sure.
Not well.
Not well? Not well. Not in a good way.
Yeah, not well.
Joey Adams was a friar forever, and somebody put a there was a picture of Joey Adams in the dining room, and somebody put up a flyer for Riverside Chapel coming soon and put it. He was,
But when you talk about ego, I always think of something Joey Adams said to us, the new young comedians on the Joey Adams radio show. He looked at us and he said, "You young people, when you think about some of the great comedians of the past, Hope, Benny, Burns, Adams,
you think he's kidding.
you think he's kidding." But we joked about that. He listed himself.
He put himself in the list.
When I first started hanging with Rodney a little bit, he said, "Oh yeah, they get all these calls. Every day they want me to do this and do that." And the other day somebody called and said, "You want to do our charity event?" They said, "Why would I do your charity event?" And they said, "Well, we got Joey Adams." He says, "Well, that's why I'm not doing it. You got Joey Adams." That's the problem right there.
Every time Jackie mentions the Friars Club, I don't know if this story is tellable on our show, but I was in the men's room at the Friars Club, and I'm washing my hands. I'm about to leave. And Jackie,
Well, right away, we know you don't wash your hands.
I do, but I'm washing my hands, and Jackie walks in and goes directly into the stall. And, how you doing? And he goes into the stall. And I'm excited because I just bought my first house in my life. And I started actually talking to Jackie, and he's in the stall. But I couldn't Jackie, I just bought my first house in Northport, and my wife, and I was excited about my new house. And Jackie doesn't answer me verbally. The sound that came out, the sound that I heard in response to my new house in Northport, that I was so excited about.
Monty, that is a creative heckle.
That is,
That is.
but the sound to the audience. Just imagine.
Yes.
I think it's pretty clear.
Okay, but the timing was perfect. It was this incredible sound, and then it stops, and there's a beat, and he goes, "That's what I think about Northport." Perfect. I just laughed. I mean, it was perfect timing.
Most
Oh, that's
people would be
great.
embarrassed. Me, I hope that's a true story.
It is a true story because the timing was so perfect. And,
That's so great. It's so terrible.
oh, man. All right. Well, Chris, you are a master joke teller. And as is Jackie.
Jackie's he's the legend.
Yeah, but we got Jackie here, and we got you,
And we got you.
and we got me, and I don't have much to add except a flatulence sound that was multiplied times 1,000 in the Friars Club bathroom.
No, that's a great story. That is a great story.
But we ask you about what went wrong in some shows when it's tough. What about when you feel right about what makes you feel really, really good when you're on stage? Talk about the good part.
When they pay cash.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
No, when the crowd's great and you just you got them in your pocket and you can't do anything wrong.
You know what? You know what I tell people? The greatest thing when you're on stage is complete silence.
Right.
Where it means you kill them with a joke, and you're at the point
whining
where you're
that-
so confident
Yep.
that they're biting.
They're waiting to hear what you're
they're
going to say.
waiting and you just let it go.
You can hear a
to
pin
nothing.
drop as you're getting ready to tell them your next thought.
And it's like, wow,
Yep.
because, after years and years of the silverware and the plates and the crowd and the drunks,
yep.
that's why.
Pips.
Tough club in Brooklyn.
Work in
Yeah.
a theater, work in a theater, and also it's like,
And now you're in the theater, and it's amazing. Those nights are special when you're in the theater. When you have a gig, like I did the Clark Gillies Foundation, I became friendly with Clark. I did his foundation this year. He passed away. The wife still wanted me on because
Great
he wanted
New
me
York.
on.
If you're watching in Ireland or Indiana,
Great New York Islander.
New York Islander hockey player.
And
Love Long Island.
Golf outing. I go into that golf outing. Everybody, they all know me because I do that. It's Clark's Country Club, and I do that comedy night there every year. And so they all know me. But now this is the golf outing. It's not the comedy night, and I got to go up and just do 20 minutes. But and all the New York Islanders, the current New York Islanders are there, and Boomer Esiason and everybody, and I'm like, oh, this could go crappy, but it was unbelievable. It was boom, boom, boom. They're with me, and you get off and you walk out of there, you go, I don't want to do another show the rest of the month. That was it,
If you're going into a show that you're pretty reasonably sure it's going to be great, and the last time you did something like this was great, and it's great, but nothing's like when your anticipation isn't high, and it's like that. That is
right.
That is like
when you got butterflies because you go, this can go bad very quickly, and you go in and it turns out to be the opposite.
Right.
And my wife will always say,
bad. Just
my wife will always say, you're going to be great. You're fine. You don't have to be nervous. I said, it's not that I'm nervous. It's not that I'm not confident in what I do. It's just that I'm going into a situation that's, I said, I've done some shows where it was like trying to do a set in Grand Central Station.
Right,
and
right.
you got 1,000 things going on, like you said, and nobody's paying attention to you but one guy,
Right.
And so golf fighting's could be like that.
I got to tell
anticipation.
you, I got to tell you, you guys talking about how silence can be rewarding on stage really makes me feel better about
Yes.
my act.
He paints himself into such a poor light, and he should.
He should.
Chris Monty, as always, terrific. Chris Monty, Jackie Martling. I am Peter Bales, and next week, believe me, the better half of Chris Monty will be here with Chris because
Mark Lunda's coming?
No!
See, I would have held back from saying that because I thought I was.
Your lovely wife, Kristen, will be here. This
Yes.
has been Stand Up Memories, and we'll see you next week. This is going to be one of those episodes where we have the
Mark Lunda's still alive.
He is. Anyway, next week, Chris and his lovely wife, Kristen. Boy, don't miss it. See you next time.
That was a pretty good episode.
A new episode every Wednesday with me, Peter Bales, Jackie the Joke Man Martling, comedians, interesting people. Leave a comment. We'll get. What am I saying?
I don't know.
We're gonna get back to you. We will respond to your comment.
StandUpMemories.com. If you go there, it shows all the different
All
platforms.
Spotify. We're on everything.
Every Wednesday.
Stand Up Memories.
Every Wednesday.
A new episode.